windy. Hello internet, it's me, Ben Cathro. And it looks like the studio's had another upgrade. I mean, is that green screen? It's good anyway. Well, it's about 14 hours after the race in Leogang and already it's time to get you up to speed for the next round in Val Di Sole. I don't have a lot of time before I have to jump in a car and send it to Italy for a commercial shoot, so let's quickly dive into some stats and info before things kick off in the Valley of the Sun. The junior women's category had a shake-up in Leogang with series leader Heather Wilson taking a couple of steps down from the top step into third place with a smooth and controlled run as I blocked the wind. It looked less aggressive than what we've seen from her so far this year, but she did have a massive crash in practice, so she potentially wound things back a touch. We'll see if there are any injuries that could affect her going into Val Di Sole, as she is still the series leader by 20 points over Aris. Talking of Aris, she, alongside her countrymates Eliana Hulsbosch and Sasha Ernest, look to have found the best speed on the Leogang track this weekend, which bodes well for some battles in Val Di Sole next week. Looking at the splits from the weekend, Sasha was actually on for the win in Leogang before a tip over in the woods, and she won the race in the dusty Val Di Sole last year by 12 seconds, which could set her up for a win this year. However, the forecast does say rain in Italy, which so far has not been her preference. The junior men also had a big shake-up with Asa Vermette faltering for the first time. He said himself in a post-race interview that he overcooked it into the stumps and forced his own error. Things got a bit more unexpected when he stopped in the lower woods because he thought he had been red flagged when actually it was a fan just waving a white and red Stiegel beer flag. At the time, I didn't think it would be an issue as his splits put him in 22nd entering the woods, which is way down the points table, and actually one place lower than his eventual finishing position of 21st. But I forgot that half of the juniors binned it in the lower woods, and if he'd actually stayed on pace instead of stopping, he would have finished in about 14th and received 14 points instead of 5, and he would still be leading the overall. He didn't keep going, so now Dane Jewett from Pivot Factory Racing is leading the overall going into the next round. And also Max Alran was actually faster than Asa at the first split, which to me says that the juniors are stepping up to match Asa's level. Or that maybe Asa was just off the pace. Nobody knows, but I'll be excited to see what happens in Val Di Sole, and honestly, I'm just fired up for the junior racing. If you're not watching the free live stream on YouTube, you're missing out, so go watch that for the next round. Going into the female elite category, we saw Anna Newkirk execute on her potential by claiming her first ever podium in an incredible second place. This is all the more impressive considering I was talking to one of her team staff on track walk, and he said that she wasn't feeling confident coming into this race as she doesn't gel with this track. I replied that it's such a hard thing to do, but she has to figure out why, work on the problems and turn the negatives into positives. It's what champions are so good at, and it looked like Anna worked on those problems, which is awesome to see. For those wondering who she is, she's the same age as Valley and spent her junior years battling without managing to step out of her shadow. She's still in her shadow now, but she's peeking out a little bit at least. I'm hoping this brings her confidence and we might have a new regular podium contender on our hands in Italy. It also seems like Miriam Nicole is working her way back to form with an emotional third place, which shows just what a journey it's been for her to get back to this point. She commented to one of our filmers that she was nervous about popping the champagne on the podium as it had been a year and a half since she's been on the podium. Where was that last podium? Val Di Sole 2022, which could mean we'll see her higher up on that podium next week. Hopefully she'll be over the champagne nerves by now. There is one person that could stop that pom-pom party though, and she is on a solid roll now with her huge 7-second win in Leogang. Valley Hole is leading the series by 290 points and she won the race in Val Di Sole last year, so will be a force to be reckoned with in Italy. The weather could make things more unpredictable, so let's see how things shake down. Finally, the elite men have a real problem on their hands. Loic Bruni is giving off real World Cup Series winner vibes, and it's going to take some serious pressure from the other racers to derail this Super Bruni train. But the last 3 races in Val Di Sole, Loic Bruni has not finished on the podium, which to me says it's not his favourite track. If we're to look at who's on form at the moment and who did well in Italy last year, Finn Isles is actually on the top of that list. An amazing second place in Leogang this week and a second place in Val Di Sole last year behind currently absent Jackson Goldstone means Finn is actually one of the favourites next week. The Specialized Gravity team are really on form right now, and some would say that the remote electronic suspension system gains them time on sections like the motorway in Leogang. But neither of the Specialized riders were the fastest, and Bruni was second fastest, granted, but Lucas Shaw was the quickest on the motorway, and Lucky Stevens McNabb was third, just behind Bruni. So it might make a difference, but it's not huge. Luckily, there's no sprinting sections in Val Di Sole, so it's not going to make a big effect there. Talking of Lucas Shaw and his absolute beast mode legs, he's sitting in second in the overall at the moment, and he was actually second at the last split in Leogang before losing time at the bottom. He is for sure a good shout in Val Di Sole, and honestly, so is McNabb, and Brosnan, and Vergier, Kolb, Kerr could do well, Coulange too, O'Callaghan's on form, can't count out Dunn. And yeah, Pierron's actually back on top as well. So, I mean, it's anyone's guess who'll be up there. So like I said earlier, the weather does look a little unpredictable for the race, but luckily it's not looking too heavy. And fingers crossed, it stays consistent and we get some good racing. If you're playing the Pinkbike Fantasy League, you might have noticed numbers for this round got a little bit messed up. It'll be fixed in the background in time for the next race, so just tune in later in the week to tweak your teams before Italy. Cathro's budget gamble recommendation of Juan Munoz did not go well last week, but let's see if we can do a bit better this time. And now this is total guesswork as the prices haven't been updated yet and I can't even actually view who's currently on the list. But Thomas Estak went well in Val Di Sole last year in qualifying, semi-finals and race, and he's shown he's right on the edge of qualifying for the finals at all the races this year. But he's not actually raced a final this year, which means his price should be low and he'll be frothing for Italy. He could easily pop into the top 10. So that's it from the Hyper Realistic Studio here, and I'll see you for our junior privateer preview in Italy. And remember to let everyone know why my pick is absolutely wrong down in the comments. It's real! It's real!